Okay, welcome back. And well, officially we've changed now to the Abba Kyari story. And, you know, I understand that there might be a few stray calls coming from the other stories. No problem. So DCP Abba Kyari, well, disgraced and suspended. Yesterday the story was that he was virtually on his way to the US. But after that, and that story itself was not without the leading of, you know, the Attorney General's office and all of that. But now NDLEA has filed additional charges. We are learning, those of us that are not learned, we are learning that you can't send anybody, you can't extradite anybody once there are charges pending for him to. So, look, people called in yesterday and were saying that they were not impressed, even before all of this news broke. So this, why, maybe as lawyers, I want to hear from both of you, why do things go like that? We thought, you led us to think that we were going to be complying in resolving this case with a US request to help investigate it, and then hours later, reportedly, charges are filed, having the effect of foreclosing any immediate move to extradite Mr. Kyari. What's going on there?
Well, it's a very murky system. And I will tell you, I'm really concerned whether there's this good intention to extradite this gentleman to US. But there are two options where we are now. Abba Kyari himself can save Nigeria or the hassle by surrendering himself to the jurisdiction of the US court by saying, okay, I'm not going to fight the extradition. I just want to go and clear myself. And most importantly, that's what you will expect from an innocent man. If you are innocent of the offense, you jump on the next available flight and go to US to clear yourself. But the whole matter is now getting a bit complicated with the charges filed against him by the NDLEA. I don't know, it may well be my brother will have a contrary opinion. But my opinion is this: there is a bar to extradition under the law, even under international law, under the extradition law as well. And for the benefit of your viewers, what happens when you are looking at, you want to extradite the criminal? The criminal is a fugitive, the suspect is a fugitive from justice because he has is hiding in another country. So you want to export him there. And the main purpose why you want to do that is either for him to be punished if he has been convicted, or for him to face prosecution if there is a charge against him. And that is what is happening in Abba Kyari case. Yes. But having said that, there are fundamentals you need to look at, first of all. The first starting point, you go to the United Nations Convention on Refugee Status, which we normally call 1951 Convention. That's okay. You want this man to come to this country to be punished or prosecuted. Why are you doing that? Is it for political reasons? If it's for political reasons, that is a bar to extradition. So that's the starting point. However, subsequently there, under the Nigeria extradition law, there's a section, which is section 3, and there are some items 1 to 7 that these are bar to removal. One, is it a trivial offense? That's why you want to. And the nature of the offense, offenses here is not trivial by their nature. Now, to the point you made about the charges being filed by the NDLEA, which is the most important. So you give yourself the benefit of section 3(6) of the Extradition Act that, look, where there's a pending criminal case, I'm putting it in my own words now for ease of understanding, then you cannot extradite the suspect. And that is where the conundrum is now. And the most important is this: if Abba Kyari is facing these charges by the NDLEA, then you cannot extradite him because that needs to come to an end. So how do we go? How do we resolve that conundrum? I leave it to my brother to deal with that.
Well, you're going to have to help us, because my simple question is, why are they using the law to do us like this? And by which I mean public knowledge and being able to say, we have heard an authoritative voice, and so this is the way it is. Hours later, it might change around. Why are they using the law to do us like this?
Because they manage the law. Perhaps if we have another personality being the Attorney General of the Federation, it could have been different. For example, if the officer says, okay, fine, we can always charge you on these allegations at any point in time, because when you talk about the criminal justice value chain, you talk of thorough investigation, diligent prosecution, and a committed judiciary. Okay, which came first in time? The request by the United States government, which is almost a year now, that this man is linked to allegations of fraud. And the principal accused person has been jailed in the US. So we could have just come to this point that, okay, Mr. Abba Kyari, this is your country, you are needed abroad. Can you go there when you arrive? If you arrive, then we deal with the local aspect of it, which has made his case worse. But now, given the traditional maneuverings of the judicial system in Nigeria, under Section 36 of Section 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 has amended, he is presumed innocent right now until the case is proved beyond all reasonable doubt. How long will it take us to prove the case? Let's go to precedent. At a time, the case of the former governor of Delta State, Ibori, he escaped all the long and short ends of the law in Nigeria. Well, he was picked up, I think, in the UAE, taken to the UK, and jailed for 13 years. The same Ramon Abbas, Hushpuppi, was picked up in the UAE, taken to the US, and jailed. But again, back to precedent. Recently, just like the US fingered the Super Cup as likely to be connected with fraud at the international level, one of our sitting ministers in this country was mentioned by US as being a likely sponsor of terrorism. Were we prompt to say, okay, go and answer to the query, but we covered it up, he denied that he used to be an extremist and blah, blah, blah. So you still come back to the reputational profile.
You're talking
of the
about
nation.
Minister Patami.
You mentioned his name.
Yeah, I did. That's the minister you're talking about,
You know,
right?
and you look at the case of how Magu was removed as the acting chairman of EFCC. Till now, he has not been charged in any court for those offenses that were strong enough for his removal. So these are the issues. So I would have expected that instead of blocking that extradition by filing charges, NDLEA could have been advised, okay, let's wait, it's a matter of time. Let this young man go to the US. If he comes back with a clean slate, which may even have his case locally. You know, so it's complicated. And that's why people are suspecting that there may be an attempted drama to offer through the right hand and prevent through the left hand.
On the one hand, I'm also hearing, I'm sure you have heard as well, that the police have commenced proceedings to dismiss him.
But you see, this is the absurdity of the whole situation. You have enough to dismiss. What is the procedure? You see,
Well,
no, I'm sorry, Mr. Yori. The system, I'm very sorry. The system needs to be effective to be respected. Okay? When there is an act of gross misconduct, you see, you need to have an effective procedure in place. You do dismiss people for diminishing performance. You dismiss people for being a disruptive influence in the workplace. You dismiss people for being a perpetual latecomer. You see, the gross misconduct is not an excessive list because you don't know what an employee will do. My own concern is this. A police officer who occupied a position of trust is now involved in interfering with a drug investigation. There is a warrant of arrest for him abroad. Now, you now set up a panel to carry out an investigation and second guess the decision of that court. We don't know the report of that panel, but from the media report, they said, well, they gave that because no money was paid into his account. Well, most criminals don't get money paid into their accounts in any event. But my major concern about this, let's say, I don't want to move away from the main menu. The menu here is this, the complication you are talking about. This complication which Nigerians are concerned about in this Abba Kyari case, the Attorney General is the only person that can resolve it. Because constitutionally, and I think my brother will agree, that he has the right to just continue this NDLEA proceeding against him. And because they are trying it's a conspiracy charge. If you leave Abba Kyari out, it doesn't mean you can't get the conviction of others. So the Attorney General needs to step in and say, look, we don't want to try Abba Kyari with these people, just leave him out of it.
Strategically.
So that, strategically, legally possible, because he has in law, you can do that. So what will now happen? Then the extradition will kick in. But my major concern is this. The late Senator Buriji Kashamu, there was an attempt to extradite him. For years upon years, he was going through all the various courts until the good Lord called him home. Now, because of that, we didn't extradite him. But we need to ask ourselves the question, and this is where the legislator comes in, and I hope I get to where I'm going. We need to look at this extradition law and make sure that if there is an issue of this nature, where public trust is involved, we need to fast track it. That is what happened in Dubai, which my brother mentioned, that the moment they pick Ibori, he was sent to UK for prosecution. The moment they pick Hushpuppi, he was sent to America for prosecution. That is, we need to do that. Because if you create a country where criminals are using your country as a fugitive to hide from justice, it undermines the collective well-being of all of us.
And so all of this probably now goes back to what you said when you said, well, those who manage the law, it is because they manage the law, because he just said there that, look, it's Mr. Malami's prerogative, if he so wishes. Just like they say judges have their own discretion. The Attorney General also has his own discretion. But that wasn't taken. And from just taking what he has explained here, since the same Attorney General's office earlier in the day announced that they were going to be, cooperating, I don't know. Can all of these things happen without the Attorney General knowing? Did he find out in the news himself what has happened? Before you launch, please, let me just bring in Reverend Dominic, who has just come on. Good morning, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Kyari, and good morning to two gentlemen in your studio.
Yes, thank you.
The first issue about our children that came back from Russia, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Don't need to drag that issue. We should congratulate the federal government at least to bring them back.
Indeed.
I heard Ade was talking about $8.5 million US. One life worth more than $8.5 million US. So if we can put money down and get the value of it, better. In this nation, we have put billions and billions of dollars in electricity. I have been here for 1 month. I have no light. If you put money and get value, fine. That's by the way. You're the Abba Kyari issue. I want to give all of you information. Okay. And I'm a reverend, I'm a pastor, not a traditional ruler. There are two schools of thought in Nigeria. The school of the Attorney General that want to give Abba Kyari a land something, sub-landed, and the school of Baba Marwa, who was a discipline officer, who have brought a fight to drug law in Nigeria, who said this sham will not go away from me for this shit. So that's the two forces. When they had yesterday that they want to give him that sub-license, they quickly make up to go to court. So that if they can go to court and charge this man, extradition will take a back seat. But I want to say this. I supported this government and I paid a bad price for it. How many governments do we have in Nigeria? Shouldn't you work in synergy? How do we treat our criminals? Do we treat him one left with another and right hand to another? One government, one Nigeria, two governments. The one of Attorney General and the one of Baba Marwa. This one is going to left, this one is going to right. No nation work that way. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Good morning. Angry Reverend Dominic this morning. There's enough to anger people, except for you lawyers who are in the law, and this is work to you guys. This is your day job. So you were going to. I was saying that all that Chief Aino explained. It goes back to what you said, that because they manage the law, that is why they are using the law to do us like this.
Yes, let me go back to that, managing the law. If you look at the vision of the Nigerian police, it says that there shall be the management in a way that you provide a safe and secure environment for national development and growth, a safe and secure place for all citizens. And if you look at that and you begin to find the level of allegations we have against the Super Corp, you must be worried. But talking about the office of the Attorney General as an office, if there is an office with the magnitude of terrorism going on in Nigeria that comes out to say we have identified over 400 sponsors of terrorism, and we are not in a hurry to name them, and we are considering prosecuting them. And again, on the other side of the coin, the UAE, that is not the direct victim of this terrorism, they have identified some sponsors, prosecuted 6, convicted 3 to life imprisonment, 3 to 10 years imprisonment, and you are still telling us you have identified. Then the next question should be, who amongst you are the real sponsors of the terrorism? You see, and that is why if we go back to the law, sir, the grand norm, the Constitution, Section 14, subsection 2 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And Section 15, subsection 5 of the same law says that the state shall abolish, it's not whether abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. So you ask the next question, what kind of governance system do we have? Okay,
one moment please, because not Reverend Dominic, Mazi Okorafor in Arochukwu has been holding on. Good morning to you, Mazi.
Good morning, Sayuri. Good morning, our guests in the studio. Sayuri and gentlemen in the studio, let us face the reality of life. Why are we celebrating this type of crime? Events and this, is there any difference? I'll ask a question to the gentlemen in the studio. What is the difference between the violence crime and this very crime we are celebrating now? Now, let me give Nigerian example. Look, in Kenya, 6 or 7 ministers were caught in terms of corruption. They were sacked. Now, listen very well. One of them went to the church and contributed very well, some millions. What happens? When the church discovered that his name is among those people sacked, they just call him public, there's a place, come and collect the money you gave the church. Very simple. They returned the millions back to the minister. Now, can it happen in Nigeria? It's a question mark which every Nigerian has to answer by himself or herself. Who are these sponsors? Every day we are shouting. The governors, Kaduna State, the social persons, this and that, all of the sponsors and that. Did they disclose all this? We are just hiding. The question is this. In as much as Nigeria is a state that we segment anything crime. They have the bourgeois one, they have senior, they have special one, they have a mighty one, they have a miniature one. We cannot fight this type of crime this way, the way we are doing it, because if we want to face the reality of fighting crime, what the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has stated, whether it's 1999 or anything you may call it, we should follow it up. Where we fail to follow it up, we are not fighting corruption. Because I cannot find ourselves now. That when Sayori, you see that you finished your first program in terms of people that are coming from Ukraine. Do you know even in the Ukraine that even the Nigerian officials were doing indigenous and non-indigenous program there when they were selecting people, they would say, bring your document and this and that. Under that condition, do you have that? Now look at the same country we are talking, Ukraine and Poland, Poland and what other countries. Men and women carry their own car to come to the border to carry people from that place to their own respective houses, giving them rooms and feeding them that they should stay in their place for the time being. Can it happen in Nigeria?
Okay, Reverend. I don't know why I'm making you Reverend this morning. Okay, Mazi. Okay, thank you very much for calling in. Sorry, how can I be ordaining Mazi? He's my Mazi already. He's not a Reverend. That was just a slip of tongue. So here we are. The worrying thing in all of this, and it takes lawyers like you to help us understand it, and also public analysts, is that the law appears in Nigeria to not be a permanent feature of its own lawness, if you get my meaning. Because you come and you bring it here, it will apply differently. The law is in black and white. Well, you're supposed to be able to read it in black and white. So even if you're not a lawyer, you're supposed to be able to see what infringement of this law will cause. But then I think most Nigerians have come to understand that it depends on who it is directed at.
Well, because that's the way the system is. The judges are there to interpret the law anyway. But my major concern
Sorry, sir, for interrupting you. Yeah, Sonny in Plateau State. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead quickly, please.
Yes. What I want to say is that our leaders always look for ways that will benefit them. That is why you see corruption increasing day and night. You could see the speed they use in approving our money for to bring out our students from Ukraine. If we look, that's what has been on strike. Negotiations have been going on for years. If they put in those money ever since, I don't think majority of the students won't be moving out. And again, I want to tell our leaders that the way they are going about all this abroad of it, it comes a time that that abroad won't be safe for them anymore. So there is nothing better than what you have. It's time now for us to fix our own. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate you.
Well, in a nutshell, what he's saying is that east or west, home is the best. I think
Home
that's
is
what
the best.
But
that is all other things being equal to those Nigerians who, I understand, declined the offer to come back to their own fatherland.
Because initially, they left because the environment was not friendly, And talking about the system, something happened
very briefly.
in
We've run out of
Canada.
time. Yes.
A Nigerian-born minister violated traffic offense, and he was given a ticket. He paid. I think he was making a phone call while driving. And he now phoned a superior officer to complain. He was removed from that office and taken to another office. And so that is systemic.
Thank you, sir. Because the law works the way it was written.
Should.
Yes.
But if our own, a simple law like that, you will come with something like 10 reference volumes on the one side of the case. You will come with another 12, depending on your own side of the case. You now begin to argue what is simple and in black and white.
We will not even come. The big men will phone themselves and kill it.
It's not impossible for people to play the system. That is
okay.
That's
I like that.
That's the reality of
and that's a fine place to leave it, sir, because there's a lot more. The Yoruba people will say, "Oropo nu wekobo." It is not impossible to play the system. For people to play the system. That is a wise smile, because I know that if I let you, you could go on for 10 minutes on this one matter that we've just said. So thank you very much, sir, Mr. Jide Ologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst. And indeed, our thanks to you too, Chief Femi Aino, international lawyer and politician. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the program this morning. And also to you for indeed listening, watching, and calling in. Let's do this again on Monday. In the meantime, do have a great weekend. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.